Lesson 1, No Food at Home.
Hey Anna, do you ever have those days where you come home and realize you have no food in the house?
Yeah, I've definitely had those days. It can be really frustrating.
It's the worst. I always feel like I'm stuck between ordering takeout or going to the grocery store and starting from scratch.
I know what you mean. It can be hard to decide what to do in that situation.
Do you have any tips for what to do when you have no food at home?
One thing I like to do is to make a quick grocery list of some essentials, like bread, eggs, and vegetables. Then I'll go to the store and pick up those items, and use them to make a simple meal.
That's a good idea. Sometimes it's easy to forget that you don't need a full pantry to make a meal.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I like to do is to see if I have any pantry staples, like rice or pasta, and try to make a meal out of those ingredients.
That's smart. And it's usually cheaper to make a meal from scratch than to order takeout.
Definitely. And if you don't feel like cooking, you can always order in, but try to choose a healthy option.
That's a good point. It's easy to fall into the trap of ordering junk food when you're hungry and don't have any food at home.
Yeah, but there are usually healthier options available too, like salads or grilled chicken.
Another thing I like to do is to check if there are any leftovers in the fridge or freezer that I can reheat and make a meal out of.
That's a good idea too. Leftovers can be a lifesaver on those days when you don't have any food at home.
Absolutely. And it's always good to have some frozen meals or canned goods on hand for emergencies.
Yeah, having a backup supply of non-perishable items can be really helpful in those situations. Lesson 2, Tips for choosing healthy food.
Hey Anna, do you have any tips for choosing healthy food when you're at the grocery store?
Yeah, definitely. One thing I like to do is to focus on whole foods, like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains.
That's a good point. Whole foods are usually more nutritious and less processed than packaged foods.
Exactly. And it's also important to pay attention to the ingredients list and nutrition information on packaged foods.
Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to decipher all the information on the labels. Do you have any tips for that?
One thing to look for is the amount of added sugars and sodium in the product. It's usually healthier to choose foods with less of those ingredients.
That makes sense. And what about fats and oils?
It's important to choose healthy fats, like those found in nuts, avocados, and olive oil. And try to avoid trans fats and hydrogenated oils, which are often found in processed foods.
That's good to know. And what about protein sources?
It's important to choose lean proteins, like chicken, fish, and beans. And try to limit red meat and processed meats, which are linked to health problems.
Got it. And what about portion sizes? Is that something to keep in mind when choosing healthy food?
Definitely. It's important to pay attention to serving sizes and try to stick to them.
That's a good point. It can be easy to overeat, especially if you're not paying attention to portion sizes.
Yeah, and it's also important to listen to your body and stop eating when you're full.
That's true. It's important to be mindful of how much we're eating, even if it's a healthy food.
Another thing to keep in mind is to choose a variety of foods from different food groups. That way you can get all the nutrients you need.
That's a good point. It's important to have a balanced diet that includes fruits, vegetables, grains, and proteins.
And don't forget about hydration. It's important to drink plenty of water and limit sugary drinks.
That's a good reminder. Water is so important for our overall health.
Yeah, and one more tip is to try to cook at home more often. That way you can control the ingredients and make sure you're getting healthy, nutritious meals.
That's a great tip. Cooking at home can be a fun and healthy way to eat.
Absolutely. With a little bit of planning and preparation, it's easy to choose healthy, nutritious food that tastes great too. Lesson 3, trying to cut back on my sugar intake.
Hey Anna, have you ever noticed how much sugar we eat in our daily diets?
Yeah, it's crazy how much sugar is in so many foods. It can be really hard to avoid.
I know. I've been trying to cut back on my sugar intake, but it's been tough. Do you have any tips on how to do it?
One thing you can do is to start reading labels and paying attention to the amount of added sugars in the products you buy.
That's a good idea. It's amazing how much sugar can be hidden in foods you wouldn't expect, like pasta sauce or salad dressing.
Exactly. Another thing to do is to try to eat more whole foods, like fruits and vegetables, which are naturally low in sugar.
That makes sense. And what about drinks? Sugary drinks like soda and juice can be a big source of added sugars.
Yeah, it's a good idea to try to limit those drinks and opt for water or unsweetened beverages instead.
I've also heard that it's important to eat protein and healthy fats with your meals, as they can help keep you feeling full and prevent cravings for sugary foods.
That's true. And it's also important to be mindful of portion sizes and to not overeat, as that can also lead to cravings for sugary foods.
Are there any other tips you have for cutting back on sugar?
Another thing you can do is to find healthy substitutes for sugary foods. For example, you can use natural sweeteners like honey or maple syrup instead of sugar.
That's a good idea. And what about snacks? It can be hard to find healthy snacks that aren't loaded with sugar.
Yeah, it can be tough. But you can try snacking on fruits, nuts, or veggies with hummus or guacamole instead of sugary snacks.
Those are great suggestions. And what about when you're eating out? It can be hard to find healthy options that aren't loaded with sugar.
That's true. But you can try to look for menu items that are grilled or roasted instead of fried, and ask for dressings or sauces on the side so you can control how much sugar you're consuming.
Those are great tips, Anna. I think I'm going to start implementing them in my daily life. It's important to be mindful of how much sugar we're consuming and to take steps to cut back where we can.
Absolutely. Sugar can be addictive and have negative effects on our health, so it's important to be mindful of our intake and make healthy choices. Lesson 4, Beer Party.
Hey Anna, have you ever thrown a beer party before?
No, I haven't. But it sounds like a lot of fun. Have you?
Yeah, I've thrown a few beer parties in the past. They're always a hit with my friends.
That's awesome. What kind of beers do you usually serve?
I like to have a variety of beers on hand, so I usually get a mix of IPAs, stouts, and lagers. And I always make sure to have some local and craft beers too.
That sounds like a great selection. What about snacks and food?
I usually have some chips and dip, pretzels, and nuts for people to snack on. And sometimes I'll grill up some burgers or hot dogs too.
Yum, that sounds delicious. And what about decorations and music?
I like to set up a beer pong table and decorate with some beer-themed decorations, like coasters and signs. And I'll usually have some music playing in the background too.
That sounds like a great atmosphere. Do you have any tips for hosting a successful beer party?
One tip is to make sure you have plenty of ice on hand to keep the beers cold. And it's also important to have plenty of cups and bottle openers available.
That's a good point. And what about safety? Do you have any tips for making sure everyone drinks responsibly?
Yeah, it's important to make sure everyone has a safe way to get home, whether it's through designated drivers or ride-sharing services. And I always make sure to have plenty of water available too, to help people stay hydrated and sober.
That's a good idea. And what about people who don't drink beer?
I always make sure to have some non-alcoholic drinks available too, like soda or sparkling water. And I'll usually have some snacks or food options that don't involve beer, like veggie burgers or salads.
That's thoughtful. It's important to make sure everyone feels included and comfortable at the party.
Definitely. And I always remind people to drink responsibly and to not overdo it.
That's a good reminder. It's important to have fun, but also to stay safe and responsible.
Exactly. A beer party can be a great way to hang out with friends and enjoy some good beer, but it's important to do it in a responsible and safe way.
Agreed. Thanks for the tips, John. I might have to throw a beer party of my own sometime. Lesson 5, Changing up the furniture.
Hey Anna, have you ever thought about changing up the furniture in your home?
Yeah, I have. I've been thinking about getting a new couch and maybe some new chairs for the living room.
That's a good idea. Changing up your furniture can really give your home a fresh look and feel.
Definitely. But it can also be a big investment. Do you have any tips for choosing new furniture without breaking the bank?
One thing to do is to shop around and compare prices at different furniture stores. And don't be afraid to negotiate for a better price.
That's a good idea. And what about buying used furniture?
Buying used furniture can be a great way to save money. You can check out thrift stores, garage sales, and online marketplaces for good deals.
That's true. And what about choosing the right style and size of furniture?
It's important to choose furniture that fits the style and size of your room. You don't want to buy something that's too big or too small for the space.
That makes sense. And what about the quality of the furniture?
It's important to invest in quality furniture that will last. You don't want to buy something that will fall apart after a year or two.
That's a good point. And what about the color and fabric of the furniture?
It's important to choose colors and fabrics that will work well with your existing decor and lifestyle. For example, if you have pets or children, you might want to choose a durable, easy-to-clean fabric. That's a good tip. And what about arranging the furniture once you have it?
It's important to arrange your furniture in a way that maximizes the space and creates a comfortable and functional layout. You can try different arrangements and see what works best for your needs. That's a good idea. And what about incorporating other decor elements, like rugs and curtains?
It's important to choose decor elements that complement your furniture and tie the room together. You can choose colors and patterns that coordinate with your furniture and add some visual interest to the space.
That sounds great. I'm excited to start looking for some new furniture and decor elements for my home. Lesson 6, Getting Secondhand Piano for Free.
Hey Anna, I heard that someone in our neighborhood is giving away a secondhand piano for free. Are you interested in getting it?
Really? That's great news. I've been wanting to get a piano for a long time, but they can be so expensive.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. And since it's free, you won't have to worry about breaking the bank.
Definitely. But I'm a little nervous about getting a second-hand piano. What if it's not in good condition?
That's a good point. But you can always have a piano technician come and inspect it before you take it home. They can give you an idea of whether it's in good condition or if it needs any repairs.
That's a good idea. And what about moving it? Pianos are heavy and can be difficult to move.
Yeah, that's something to consider. But there are professional piano movers who can help you move it safely and without damaging it.
That's good to know. And what about tuning? Do you have to tune a piano after you move it?
Yeah, it's a good idea to have a piano tuner come and tune it after you move it. That way it will sound its best and be in good playing condition.
That makes sense. I'm excited about the possibility of getting a piano. I used to play when I was younger and I miss it so much.
That's great to hear. And having a piano at home can be a great way to relax and unwind after a long day.
Definitely. And it's a good way to keep up with my skills and learn new songs.
Yeah, and who knows, maybe you'll even start giving piano lessons or playing at local gigs.
That would be amazing. I'm going to contact the person who's giving away the piano and see if it's still available.
Good idea. And let me know if you need help moving it or finding a piano technician.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to start playing and making music again. Lesson 7, Hiring a Professional Music Teacher.
Hey Anna, I heard you've been thinking about taking music lessons. Have you considered hiring a professional music teacher?
Yeah, I have. I think it would be a good idea to have a teacher who can guide me and help me improve my skills.
Definitely. A music teacher can help you with technique, theory, and even performance skills.
That's true. But I'm not sure how to find a good music teacher. Do you have any tips?
One thing you can do is to ask for recommendations from friends or family who have taken music lessons before. You can also check online for reviews of local music teachers.
That's a good idea. And what about the cost of music lessons?
It depends on the teacher and their level of experience. But it's important to remember that music lessons are an investment in your skills and can have long-term benefits.
That's true. And what about the frequency of lessons? How often should I take them?
It depends on your schedule and your goals. Some people take lessons once a week, while others take them every other week or once a month.
That makes sense. And what about the age of the teacher? Should I look for someone older or younger?
It doesn't really matter. The most important thing is to find someone who is knowledgeable, experienced, and who you feel comfortable with.
That's a good point. And what about the location of the lessons? Should I go to the teacher's studio or should they come to my home?
It depends on your preference and convenience. Some teachers have their own studios, while others are willing to come to your home. You can discuss this with the teacher and see what works best for both of you.
That's a good idea. And what should I expect from my music lessons?
You should expect to learn new skills and techniques, as well as receive constructive feedback on your playing. Your teacher will also likely assign practice exercises and pieces to work on between lessons.
That sounds good. And what about if I have a specific music genre in mind, like jazz or classical?
It's important to find a teacher who specializes in the genre you're interested in. You can ask the teacher about their experience and training in that genre before you start lessons.
That's a good idea. I'm excited to start looking for a music teacher now. Thanks for the advice, John. Lesson 8. I love skiing.
Hey Anna, I heard you went skiing last weekend. How was it?
It was great. I love skiing, but I still feel like my skills could use some improvement.
That's understandable. Skiing can be a challenging sport, and it takes time to develop your skills.
Yeah, that's true. But I really want to get better at it. Do you have any tips for improving my skiing skills?
One thing you can do is to take a lesson from a ski instructor. They can help you with your technique and give you tips on how to improve.
That's a good idea. And what about practicing on my own?
Practicing on your own is also important. You can work on drills and exercises to improve your balance, turning, and speed control.
That makes sense. And what about equipment? Does having the right equipment make a difference in your skiing skills?
Definitely. Having the right skis, boots, and bindings can make a big difference in your performance. It's important to choose equipment that fits your skill level and skiing style.
That's good to know. And what about skiing with others? Can skiing with more experienced skiers help improve your skills?
Skiing with more experienced skiers can be a great way to learn new skills and techniques. You can watch their form and ask them for tips on how to improve.
That's a good point. And what about skiing in different types of terrain?
Skiing in different types of terrain, like steep slopes or moguls, can also help improve your skills. It challenges you to use different techniques and adapt to different conditions.
That sounds like a good idea. And what about staying in shape off the slopes? Does that make a difference in your skiing skills?
Definitely. Staying in good physical shape can help improve your endurance, strength, and agility, which are all important for skiing.
That's good to know. And what about mental preparation? Does that play a role in skiing skills?
Mental preparation is also important. You need to be confident and focused while skiing, and be able to visualize and plan your movements ahead of time.
That's a good point. Skiing seems like a sport that requires both physical and mental preparation.
Absolutely. And most of all, it's important to have fun and enjoy the experience. Skiing is a great way to stay active and enjoy the outdoors, and with practice, your skills will continue to improve.
Lesson 9, I was thinking about getting a pet.
Hey Anna, I was thinking about getting a pet. Have you ever considered getting a rabbit?
Actually, I have. I think rabbits are adorable and they make great pets.
That's awesome. I've heard that rabbits can be very social and affectionate.
Yes, they are. But they also require a lot of care and attention. Are you prepared for that?
I think so. I've done some research on how to care for rabbits, and I'm willing to put in the time and effort to make sure they are happy and healthy.
That's good to hear. What kind of rabbit do you want?
I'm not sure yet. There are so many different breeds and types of rabbits. Do you have any preferences?
I've always liked the Holland Lop breed. They're really cute and have floppy ears.
Yeah, they are adorable. And what about the living arrangements for the rabbits? Do we need to get a specific type of cage or enclosure?
Yes, rabbits need a lot of space to move around and play. A large cage or enclosure with plenty of room to run and jump is important. They also need a space to burrow and hide.
That's good to know. And what about their diet? Do rabbits have specific dietary needs?
Yes, rabbits need a balanced diet that includes hay, fresh vegetables, and a small amount of pellets. I see. And what about their exercise needs?
I see.
Do we need to take them out
And
for
what about
walks
their
like
exercise
dogs?
needs? Do we need to take them out for walks like dogs?
No, rabbits don't need to be walked like dogs. But they do need plenty of exercise and playtime. You can give them toys to play with and create obstacle courses for them to run through.
That sounds like fun. And what about their grooming needs?
Rabbits need regular grooming to keep their fur clean and prevent matting. You'll need to brush them regularly and trim their nails as needed.
Okay, that sounds manageable. And what about their health? Do rabbits need regular checkups with a veterinarian?
Yes, rabbits need regular checkups with a veterinarian who specializes in exotic pets. They are prone to certain health issues, like dental problems and gastrointestinal issues, so it's important to keep up with their health care.
I see. It sounds like taking care of rabbits requires a lot of effort and responsibility.
Yes, it does. But they are also very rewarding pets and can bring a lot of joy and companionship into our lives.
I agree. Let's keep doing our research and make sure we are fully prepared for the responsibility of owning rabbits before we make a decision.
Sounds like a plan. I'm excited about the possibility of having rabbits as our pets. Lesson 10, Forgot to brush teeth last night.
Hey Anna, did you remember to brush your teeth last night?
Oh no, I totally forgot. I was so tired and just went straight to bed.
It happens to the best of us. But it's important to brush your teeth twice a day to maintain good oral hygiene.
I know, I feel really bad about it. Is there anything I can do to make up for it?
Well, you can make sure to brush your teeth extra well tonight and use mouthwash to help kill any bacteria that may have accumulated.
That's a good idea. And what about flossing? Should I floss more often to make up for last night?
John, flossing is always a good idea, but you don't necessarily need to do it more often because you missed brushing your teeth one time. Just make sure to floss regularly as part of your daily routine.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the impact of not brushing my teeth last night on my overall oral health?
It's not ideal, but one missed brushing session is unlikely to cause any serious problems. Just make sure to be more diligent going forward and stick to a regular brushing and flossing routine.
That's good to know. I'll definitely make sure not to forget again.
It happens to the best of us, but it's important to take care of our teeth and gums to maintain good oral health.
I agree. I'll also try to set up a reminder on my phone or put a note on my bathroom mirror to help me remember to brush my teeth before bed.
That's a good idea. Anything that can help you remember to brush your teeth regularly is a step in the right direction.
Definitely. And I'll also make sure to schedule a regular checkup with my dentist to make sure everything is okay.
That's a good idea. Regular dental checkups are important for maintaining good oral health and catching any potential issues early on.
Thanks for the advice, John. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe our channel. Let's meet in our next video soon.